Do you or someone you love feel sad, anxious, hopeless, or restless? Have these symptoms happened more than a couple of weeks? If so, it could be more serious than you think. Depression is an illness that involves the body, the mood, and thoughts, and affects the way a person eats, sleeps. It also affects the way that one feels about themselves and the way they think about everything. Over 17 million American adults go through a period of depression each year. Depression causes pain and suffering to its victims, their family, and friends. The most common types of depression are major depression, chronic depression, and bipolar depression. Major depression is totally debilitating. It is the most severe form. Major or clinic depression interrupts a person's ability to work, to sleep, study, eat, and enjoy once pleasurable activities. A person that has been diagnosed with major depression will have all of the symptoms of depression, but however, they will be more severe and a lot more intense. The second type of depression is chronic depression. Chronic depression is not as serious as major depression, although it still affects the daily lifestyle of a person. It does not, however, disable them. It is a long-term depression, usually 2 years. Most people will not even know when they first became depressed, and usually will not realize what is wrong with them until it is so severe that much emotional damage has already been done. The third type of depression is bipolar depression. Unlike the previous types of depressions, the bipolar shows an extreme level of high energy, or they have extreme lows, excessive moodiness, irritability, and impulsive or reckless behavior. Depression disorders have many different causes. A person that suffers from depression has changes in their brain. They also have a reduced amount of chemicals known as neurotransmitters. Depression can be hereditary, or it can be brought on by a loss of a loved one, trauma, or troubled relationships. Basically, any stressful solution can trigger depression. Depression can happen to anyone. Although it is most common in women, men, teenagers, and adolescents can succumb to the disease. Biological, life cycle, hormonal, and psychological factors, along with childbirth, transitioning into menopause, stresses of work, home responsibilities, children, money issues, abuse, and relationship problems contribute to the higher rate in women. Depression in men, however, is much different than women. Where women feel sad and worthless and have extreme guilt, men tend to be very tired, they're very irritable. They have difficulty sleeping and lose interest in activities that one once enjoyed. Men also are more likely to turn to alcohol and drugs than women. Men become angry and they become very frustrated and discouraged. They tend to throw themselves into their work and they pursue risky behaviors. An adolescent or a teenager that is suffering from depression will pretend to be sick. They will often want to stay out of school. They seem to get in a lot of trouble, and they're very negative, irritable, and they feel like they're just terribly misunderstood. Depression in adolescents and teens is usually accompanied by anxiety, eating disorders, and substance abuse. Psychotherapy, medications, and electroconvulsive therapy are the three most common treatments for depression. Psychotherapy is mainly used with teens and adolescents. This would involve visits to a psychiatrist, along with changes in eating habits and diet, and usually a change in exercise. Medication is used for adults in most depression disorders. Even though medication in most cases makes the person feel better, it is not a cure. Medication can only help the symptoms. Electroconvulsive therapy is a procedure in which electric currents are passed through the brain, deliberately triggering a brief seizure. This was introduced 70 years ago and is a very controversial method. However, since its introduction, it has greatly changed. It can still cause side effects and have complications, but now they use precisely calculated currents which are done in a controlled environment. This treatment usually is only used in severe cases of depression. The basic fact about depression is at one point or another in our lives, each one of us will experience some type of depression. Depression is a real disease and should not be taken lightly with any other diseases of the body. However, with proper treatment, nearly 80% of depression victims can make a vast improvement in their mood and in their lives.
Good. You want that food you can't see?
So what? You could stop them dogs from that, Douglas.
That?
Y'all are now on YouTube.